Hey, welcome to the lesson. We'll first have a look at the rules for the questions 6 to 10, and then we'll look at the questions once we're done. Okay? Now the passage reads that exactly 3 films, G, H, and L. I want you to understand that there is no need for you to see the names of these things, just the first alphabet will do. Okay, it says that exactly 3 films, G, H, and L, are shown during a film club's festival held on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Okay, each film is shown at least once during the festival, but never more than once on a given day. Okay, so the entire festival consists of 3 days, right? You have Thursday, you have Friday, and you have Saturday. So this is the festival, okay? So over the course of this entire festival, right? The entire festival, each of the films is shown at least once, right? So over 3 days, you have these shown at least once, okay? Each of them is shown at least once, but never more than once on a given day, which means that, hey, let's take, for example, if you take Thursday, for example, okay? So you can't have 2 shows of G on a given day. You can't have 2 shows of H. It has to be only once. Now, when that's the case, you know that the maximum number of shows that you can have on a given day is 3, right? So, for example, on Tuesday, you can have only 3 shows. On Friday, you can have only 3 shows, and on Saturday, you can have only 3 shows, okay? So let's go ahead and read the rules, okay? And it says that the films are shown one at a time, and then it gives you the rules. It says that on Thursday, H is shown, and no film is shown after it on that day. Now, it doesn't tell you whether H is here or H is here or H is here, you know? So what do you do in such a situation? Like, what do you do when you don't know where H is being shown? All you know is H is the last one, okay? So when you don't know the position, it's a good idea to probably just take off the slots, okay? When you look at the rules, you can just kind of write it like this. So we put the H in here, so you have the H right here. And you know that there's nothing after it, okay? So there's nothing after H. You don't know what's there before it. Maybe there's 1, maybe there's 2. You don't know, okay? Then let's look at the second rule. It says on Friday, either G or L, but not both, is shown, and no film is shown after it on that day. So once again, I've got to take off these numbers from here because it doesn't talk of a first and a second show. All it says is that on Friday you have either G or L, right? So it's either G or it is L, and after that no film is shown on that day. Okay, so written that down. So maybe there's something shown before here, maybe there's one. There can only be one show before that because you can't have 2 in this case. There's only one show before that. So you know for sure that the maximum that you could have here is 1 show before. Because you know what? Let's say you want to say that, hey, can I put 2 slots in here? Well, in that case, you'd have to put like H and, you know, if this is G, then you have to put L in here. If this was L, you have to put G. But you can't have both G and L. It has to be one of them. So the only other option is H. So you know that there's only one option here. Okay, so you can have only one. And that, if at all, has to be H. So if it's there, it's got to be an H. Okay, so just put that within brackets because you don't have it. Right? The H within brackets just means that, hey, if it's gonna be something, it's gonna be an H. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's look at the last condition rule. It says on Saturday, either G or H, but not both, is shown, and no film is shown after it on that day. So once again, you can't have these positions, but what you can do is that once again I can go for the rule that says that you have either G or H. So either G or H, and nothing coming after that. Okay, and that means that you have one slot before, you have only one slot before, and it is this, and what that can be is an L, if at all. Okay, so now you have the rules that are given to you documented in the form of a diagram, and now you can use this diagram to solve all the questions without having to look back at the rules again and again. So that's why it's important to get to this diagram. Okay, once you use this diagram, you can just look at the questions without having to go back to the rules again and again. Let us go for the questions now. Question number 6, the first question of this set. Now, even before you go ahead and read the question, let me get back the diagram that we just drawn here, because this is what is going to apply to all of the questions now from 6 to 10, okay? So we need this as a starting point, okay? Let's go and look at the question. It says, which one of the following could be a complete and accurate description of the order in which the films are shown at the festival? Now, it says which of them is complete and accurate. What that means is that you need to look for the option that works well, that is consistent with the diagram and with the rules. So what that means is that out of these four options, three options are not going to follow the rules, and one of them is going to follow the rules. Okay, so we just look at the options one by one to see as to where three of the options are not following the rules, and then we'll find one option that follows the rules. Okay, let's start with option A. Okay, let's look at option A first. Okay, it says Thursday, L and then H. That works okay as of now because it has H at the end. Then it says F. It says F has either G or L, so you have an L here, and it's the last one. Works okay. You look at Saturday. It has H, so you should have a G or an H. That's fine. But hey, there's a problem in here. The problem is that it does not have a G at all. So if you look at A, there is no G in it, and you need to have at least one of each, which means that A is not the answer. Okay, so let me just clarify this for ourselves, that A is not the answer. Let me just mark that wrong. Let's look at option B. It says that if you look at option B, it says Thursday, you have H, that's fine. On Friday, you have G and then L. Hey, you can't have both, so B is not the answer again. Let's look at C. When you look at C, it says that you have Thursday, H works okay. Friday, L works okay. And Saturday, L and then G works okay. You know, it works okay with this. So it looks like C is the answer. Just let's go ahead and look at D as well, just to be sure. D says, if you're looking at D right now, okay, it says Thursday, it says G and then H. Well, that works okay. Then it says, then L. Oh, it's saying H and then L after that, but you can't have anything after that. So H was supposed to be the last one on Thursday. So D is not the answer. So you know for sure that C is the answer to question 6. Question number 7. Once again, here's my diagram, and now the question says, hey, which one cannot be true? Okay, so let's see option by option to see as to which one cannot be true. So how do we arrive at the right answer? It means that, hey, out of these 4 options, only one of them cannot be true, whereas 3 of the options can be true. Now what does that mean? That the wrong options, right? So these 3 options which are wrong, the wrong options are the one that can be true. Okay? So we've got to see when we look at the options here, hey, can this be true? Can this be true? Can this be true? Can this be true? For one of them, you're gonna have the answer that, hey, this cannot be true. You ask yourself the question for each option. You're gonna ask yourself, hey, can A be true? Can B be true? Can C be true? Can D be true? For one of them, you're gonna get the answer that, hey, it cannot be true. Okay, so let's see how this works. Okay, we'll go for it option by option, one by one. Okay, so first let's look at option A. It says that H is the last film shown on each day of the festival. Now you know that on Friday, you know that G or L is the last film that's shown, right? So it cannot be the last film shown on each day of the festival. So I have my answer here right away because option A looks like the answer, the right answer. Let's go ahead and look at the other options as well, okay? Whether the others can be true. Let's see. It says option B. Let's look at option B. It says L is shown on each day. Can you put L on Thursday? Yes, you can. You can put an L here. Can you have an L on Friday? Yes, of course, you can have the L here. Can you have an L on Saturday? Of course, yes, you can have the L here. So this is possible, so it can be true. Since it can be true, this can be true, so it is not the answer. Likewise, if you see option C, it says G is shown second on each day. Okay, now it's possible here that maybe you showed a G here and you showed an L here, so you have G in the second position, works okay. Can you have G here? You can have G in the second position. You can put an H here and then have a G here, works okay. Here again on Saturday you can have an L here and a G here, so G can be true. G in second position can be true, so it's not the answer. Likewise, if you look at D, it says a different film is shown on each day of the festival. So you can have an H here, you can have an L here, and you can put a G here. So you have G, H, and L. So the first day is different. This is also possible. It can be true, so it is not the answer. So you know that A is the answer to question number 7. Question number 8. Question number 8 says that if L is never shown again during the festival once G is shown, then which one of the following is the maximum number of film showings that could occur during the festival? Now, what this rule says is that if G is shown even once, if G is shown, then you cannot have an L shown after that. Now the question requires you to find out the maximum number of showings. Now if you want the maximum number of showings, if that's what you want, then you want to ensure that G is not shown early, because if G is shown early, it means you cannot show the L. So the idea is to kind of ensure that G is kind of delayed. You show G a little late so that you can give yourself a chance to put L thereafter. Let me give you an example. Let's say that, hey, you put a G in here, okay? The first show of Thursday. Now the moment you do that, you cannot put an L in any of these places, and that prevents us from getting the maximum, okay? So we'll try to put G a little later, okay, and we'll see what we can have thereafter, okay? So let's now look at the options, and you know, let's see where we can put G and kind of then count the maximum number of showings, okay? So what I do here for Thursday, let's begin with Thursday. I'll not put a G in here, I'll just put an L, okay? So you have an L and you have an H, okay? Then when I look at F, I'll look at F. You know, there can be only one spot in here, so I write down the H. Now between the G and the L, okay, again, like we said, we want to delay the G. So let me just retain the L. So let me strike off the G. Okay. And then here, let me put the L. Okay, I can put the L in here. Again, you cannot have both G and H, so maybe I can just keep any one of them. Maybe I can keep the G or I can keep H. Either way, you have only one from here. So if you want to count the total number of showings in this case, you have one from here, you have two from here, you have three from here, you have four from here, you have five from here, and you have six from here. So this gives you six already. Okay, and we look at the options. Already you can see that you found the option 6. Now for example, let's say, now how did I know that I've taken the best combination? I'm not, but I tried a combination and then I look at the options. Let us say if you found an option like 7 in here, or there was 8 in here, that means you'd have to go back and look for something else. But since we've already found the largest number in here, like we've already seen that, hey, 6 is possible. We've just seen 6 is possible. Since 6 is possible and it is the largest number in the group, it's very simple for me to pick D as the right answer. Okay, so D is the right answer to question number 8. Question number 9. So, if G is shown exactly 3 times, if H is shown exactly twice, and L is shown exactly once, then which of the following must be true? Okay, now, if G is shown 3 times, it means that G is shown on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, right? So let's see where we can put that. So if it's shown on Thursday, maybe it's shown here, maybe you have the L before it, or you have the L after it, I don't know. So let me just write L by the side. Maybe you have an L, maybe you don't. But you definitely have a G on Thursday, right? So let me just put the G in here, okay? The L is kind of like, it doesn't matter whether it is before it or after it, but you need to have a G on Thursday, okay? So I've just written the L by the side, okay. Then let's look at Friday, okay? On Friday, you have the G or an L, which means that if you want to have the G, you should not have the L in here. So let me just strike the L off. So you have a G, okay? Then let us look at Saturday. Again, you gotta have G or H here. So if you want G, you don't want the H. So let me strike off the H from here. So you have G here. Okay. So that settles the 3 G's. Okay, that settles G. Now let's look at H. Okay. You want to have 2 H's exactly. So the one H is done on Thursday. When you see this one here, it's done. Okay, that's the first one. The second one has to be on Friday, because you know this position can be an H, as you can see from here. Okay, so let me just put H in here. You have the second H. Now you want to have one L. Okay, so you cannot have an L. You can have a possible L here. It's possible to have one L on Thursday, or you can have one L here on Saturday. Okay, which means that if you want to have exactly one L, you have 2 options for L. Okay, so let me just kind of put this like by showing you the alternative. Like you can have it here or here, so I kind of write it as L, or I can write it as L. Okay, this kind of means that you can have the L either here or there. Okay, so it's kind of like an or. Now once you've done this, you know that you definitely have G and H on Thursday. You may have an L. You definitely know that on Friday you have H and G only. That's kind of fixed, okay? On Saturday you have a G for sure, and you may have an L. Now before I even look at the options, I kind of know that the only thing that is fixed here, right, which has no variable, because this is kind of a variable. It could be either here or there. The only thing that's fixed is Friday, right? Friday is fixed, okay? So that kind of tells me that, the right option maybe relates to Friday. That's what I guessed, okay? But let's look at the options one by one, right? Let's look at the options one by one. Okay, let's look at the first option. It says that all three films are shown on Thursday. Hey, it's not necessary, as we saw. It's possible that maybe you have all three on Thursday, maybe you have all three, or maybe you don't, because maybe you don't have L showing up, right? So it's not something that must be true. So I'll strike it off. It says exactly two films are shown on Saturday. Hey, on Saturday, you may have two, in which case it's L and G. And maybe it's also possible that you don't have an L because the L is actually in here. So you have only G. So you cannot say that it must be true. It may be true, but you cannot say that it must be true. So even B is not the answer. Let's look at option C. It says that H and G are shown on Friday. Hey, we look at on Friday. Yeah, H and G are shown on Friday. Works absolutely fine. So C looks like the right answer. Let's look at option D. It says G is the only film shown on Saturday. Hey, it is possible for G to be the only thing shown, but maybe you could have L and G, in which case it's not the only film shown. So again, it's not true that, that D must be true. It could be false. So C is the answer, okay? Let's go to the next question. The last question of this video, question number 10. So here's our diagram. The question says that if L is shown exactly 3 times, so this means that L is shown on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, okay? Then it says that if H is shown exactly twice, okay, and G is shown exactly once, then which one of the following is a complete and accurate list of the films that could be the first film shown on Thursday? So it says which of the following, right, could be a complete and accurate list of the films that could be shown on Thursday. Look, you're talking about this position, okay? So what are the possibilities for this? Now, the total number of possibilities for this is that you could have had only 3 options, right? You have only 3 films here. You have H, L, and G. That's all. You just have these 3 films, okay? And now, out of these 3 films, when you look at this, H is already filled here, right? And you cannot have H twice, which means that as far as this position is concerned, you cannot have the H, right? So this position anyway can have only L or G at the most, okay? So when I kind of look at the options, okay, I know already that you cannot have H here, right? So if you look at the options that you can eliminate at this point, you can definitely straight away eliminate option A, because you cannot have H on the first show, right? H cannot be the first show. Likewise, since you cannot have H on the first show, even option C is wrong. Let me strike off option C. So the only question that now remains, if you can understand that, is that we know that it can be either L and G, or it can be L alone, because that's what the options are. You have only B and D remaining, right? You'll look at B and D. So the question basically is, hey, is it possible for us to have G in the first position here? Is it possible for us to have G in the first position? If the answer to that is yes, it means that D is the answer. If you ask the question, hey, is it possible to have G here? If the answer to that is no, then the answer is B. Okay? If you didn't understand that, pause the video or rewind it and listen to me once again. Okay? So we're trying to see if you can have G in here. Because you know what? The options tell you already that, hey, L is possible. The only question here is, can you also have a G? Okay. So let me see if I can put a G in here. Okay, let me just see if I can put a G as the first show. Okay, G is first show. And then let me kind of see if I want to have three L's. Okay, so I put the L in here because L has to be on all three of these. Okay, so if L is here, L is done for Thursday. If L is to be done for Friday, if I had to put L for Friday, that means I should strike off the G from here because then you have the L done for Friday. For the Saturday, I put the L in here. So you've got the L's done. You have two L's completed. The three L's completed, sorry. So you have three L's completed. Now you want to look at the 2H. You want just two, exactly, you want 2H. You got one H here already on Thursday. If you want one more H, you can kind of put that in here, okay? But if you do that here, if you do the H here, then you gotta, here if you have the H once again, then that becomes three H's, which you do not want, okay? You don't want to have three H's, okay? So let's just take this off from here. Let's not put the etching here, okay? So let me just leave this blank, okay? And from here, let me take the H by striking out the G, okay? Now when you look at this, it works. So I put the G in here just to check if G can be in the first position. And now you have a combination that works absolutely fine because you have G and H and L. Okay, it works okay. Here you have the L, it follows the rule. You have three L's, you have two H's here and here. You have exactly one G, that's also followed, and follows all the rules. Okay, so you can have an L as well as a G, so your answer here becomes option D.